What might appear, at first glance, to be merely a corporate interview, three professionals gathered around a glass table in a sun-drenched office, actually encapsulates a more profound truth about the nature of human connection in our increasingly digitized world. It is in such moments of intersection that the true complexity of professional evolution reveals itself, much like light splitting through a prism to reveal its component colors. The morning sun, streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows, creates an almost theatrical illumination of the scene. Not only does it cast the glass table in an ethereal glow, but it also serves as a metaphorical spotlight on this pivotal moment in three interconnected lives. Little did Tom know, as he sat in the ergonomic chair facing his potential future, that this interview would transcend its immediate purpose to become a catalyst for transformation. Mr. Gray, whose silver hair catches the light in a way that seems to physically manifest his years of wisdom, adjusts his light blue tie with the deliberate precision that has characterized his 3-decade career. Rarely, he begins, his voice carrying the measured cadence of experience, do we encounter candidates whose understanding of organizational dynamics mirrors our own evolutionary journey. It is through such subtle acknowledgments that the true nature of this interaction begins to crystallize. The glass table, rather than serving as a mere piece of corporate furniture, becomes a symbolic surface upon which different perspectives converge and reflect. Its transparency speaks to the authenticity of the moment, while its reflective properties create a visual metaphor for the multifaceted nature of professional identity. Ms. White, organized yet intuitive in her approach, recognizes in Tom's responses echoes of her own professional metamorphosis. Had circumstances been different when she sat in his position 3 years ago, might the trajectory of her career have taken an alternate path? Such counterfactual contemplations serve not to question the present but to illuminate the intricate web of decisions and chance that shapes our professional journeys. In your application, she notes, her blonde hair catching the morning light as she references her black folder, you discuss the paradigm shift in contemporary workplace dynamics. Could you elaborate on how you envision the synthesis of traditional professional values with emerging technological imperatives? The question, while ostensibly straightforward, contains layers of meaning that ripple outward like waves on a still pond. Tom, sensing the deeper implications, takes a moment to gather his thoughts. The silence that follows is not empty but pregnant with possibility, much like the pause between movements in a symphony. The contemporary workplace, Tom begins, his response measured yet passionate, exists at the intersection of tradition and innovation. Just as this office space harmoniously blends classical professional elements with modern design, successful organizations must navigate the delicate equilibrium between established wisdom and emerging possibilities. His response resonates with both interviewers, though each interprets it through the lens of their own experience. Mr. Gray, having witnessed the evolution of workplace culture throughout his career, appreciates the acknowledgement of traditional values. Ms. White, straddling the boundary between established practices and innovative approaches, recognizes the importance of synthesis. Indeed, Mr. Gray responds, removing his blue glasses and placing them thoughtfully beside his smartphone on the glass table. But how do you reconcile the inherent tension between technological efficiency and human connection? What strategies would you employ to maintain authenticity in an increasingly virtual landscape? The question hangs in the air like morning mist, its complexity reflecting the multifaceted nature of modern professional challenges. Tom's response would need to demonstrate not just understanding but insight, not merely knowledge but wisdom. Technology, Tom begins, drawing upon both his experience and observations, should serve as a catalyst for human connection rather than a substitute for it. Consider this very moment. While we could have conducted this interview virtually, the nuances of in-person interaction, the subtle interplay of expression, gesture, and shared space, create a depth of understanding that transcends mere information exchange. Ms. White finds herself nodding in agreement, her own role having evolved from purely technical to increasingly interpersonal. The parallels between Tom's philosophy and the company's ethos become increasingly apparent, like threads in a tapestry gradually revealing a larger pattern. The conversation flows naturally into deeper waters, touching upon themes of organizational psychology, technological integration, and the human element in professional development. Each topic serves as a tributary feeding into the larger river of understanding that flows between the three individuals. If you had to distill your professional philosophy into a single metaphor, Mr. Gray poses, his tone suggesting both curiosity and evaluation, what image would you choose? Tom glances at the glass table, finding inspiration in its reflective surface. I would liken it to this table, he responds, gesturing to the piece that has served as both barrier and bridge throughout their interaction. Like glass, effective professional relationships should be both transparent and reflective, clear in their purpose yet capable of reflecting different perspectives. And just as this table brings us together while maintaining appropriate professional distance, successful workplace dynamics require a balance of connection and boundary. The metaphor, elegant in its simplicity yet rich in implication, draws appreciative looks from both interviewers. It demonstrates not just Tom's ability to think abstractly but also his talent for finding profound meaning in everyday objects, a skill increasingly valuable in an era where innovation often springs from unexpected connections. As the interview progresses, the morning sun continues its arc across the sky, casting ever-changing patterns through the windows. These shifting shadows seem to mirror the dynamic nature of their conversation, which has evolved from formal assessment to meaningful dialogue. Ms. White, who has been documenting the interaction in her black folder, pauses to pose a final question: how do you envision the future of professional relationships in an increasingly digitized world? The question serves as both conclusion and opening, inviting reflection on past experience while pointing toward future possibilities. Tom's response would need to bridge not just present and future but also theory and practice, idealism and pragmatism. The future workplace, he begins, his voice carrying the quiet confidence of considered thought, will require us to be both architects and inhabitants of new professional spaces. Just as this office demonstrates how physical environment shapes interaction, we must consciously design digital spaces that enhance rather than diminish human connection. The response seems to capture something essential about the moment they share, three professionals whose paths have converged in this sunlit office, each bringing their own perspective to the collective understanding they've built. As the interview draws to a close, Mr. Gray rises from his chair with the deliberate grace that has characterized his entire career. Your insights into the intersection of human dynamics and technological progress are particularly relevant to our current organizational direction, he observes, his tone suggesting more than mere professional courtesy. Ms. White adds her own perspective: your approach to balancing innovation with tradition resonates strongly with our company's values. We'll be in touch by the end of the week with our decision. As Tom prepares to leave, he feels a sense of completion that transcends the typical post-interview relief. The conversation has evolved beyond professional assessment into a meaningful exchange of ideas and perspectives. The morning light, still streaming through the windows, casts long shadows that seem to point toward future possibilities. Behind him, Mr. Gray and Ms. White share a moment of silent communication, their experienced eyes reflecting a shared appreciation for the depth of understanding demonstrated during the interview. The glass table captures their reflections one final time, three professionals whose paths have converged in this moment of mutual discovery and potential transformation.